Alright, I wanted to make a little brief, information video about, some of the software I'm using, just real quick. Yeah, this is Candle, and Candle is something that's, you can find out there. Just Google, Candle CNC, and, you'll find, I think, a GitHub site. Here, let me see if I can find it. Like here, I believe they have a so if you're using Windows, they actually do have a zip file, and that's got an installer on it and everything like that. Okay, and that's for Candle. I don't know why these guys decided to name it Candle, so that makes it really hard to do research on, because it's Candle, so you get like a million hits on Candle sites, especially if you're trying to find instructions on the damn thing. Guys, when you're making software, name your software something really unique so it's easy to do research on it. That's a hint. Names mean things. But at any rate, that's Candle for you. And KiCad, just enter KICAD. Okay, and that'll take you there, to KiCad.org websites. Again, all this is open source software. So if you want to modify it, in theory, you can. Okay, if you're like into that kind of thing. But you can go and just download it. Again, easy to install. It's again a little funny to get the feel of, but it is actually a pretty efficient program once you just learn to use the hotkeys, the keyboard shortcuts. It's not too bad, especially being a free program and everything. It's not terrible. It's not super complex like QOX or something like that, or definitely not like Altium, which is, my God, you're going to get some brain damage trying to figure that thing out if you got a copy of it. Hell, even the newer internet version of Circuit Maker, is pretty damn elaborate. It's not as simple as the old free version I had from 2000 that I've used all these years. Now, the one program you're going to have apparently a real pain in the ass installing is FlatCam. You enter FlatCam, okay, you go to flatcam.org. Alright, now they've got instructions on how to install it and everything, but the problem is there's no real installer. These guys hadn't gotten around to writing a Windows installer. You'd probably have a lot easier time on Linux, but you've got to kind of install Python and some stuff like that. But they got instructions for it, but it does kind of suck if you go down to the download section. Again, you see for Unix platforms, in Windows, download a repository from Bitbucket, okay, so you gotta go to Bitbucket, and then there's like a bunch of fucked up instructions, because there really isn't an installer, I don't think, which there wasn't a month ago when I looked for it. They do have a Windows installer ostensibly for the older version, but certainly for a Windows 32, that's for 8.5, and I think I'm at 8.991. Let me look at it. Yeah, it's 8.991 is my version on it. But again, if your operating system can support an older version, you might go through this, but that's pretty old. It's significantly older than the version I'm using now. As far as I know, they don't really have an installer for the newer version of it, like this or this, and I'm not using these yet. Let's see what this says. Ah, shit. Just downloaded a text file. Brilliant. Let's see what it says. Okay, I don't know what this means. High speed link. The password. Well, maybe they have an installer. Oh, I guess somebody might have written an installer here. I guess this is trying to tell you where to go to get it. And there's a password for it. So that's cool. Maybe I can update it. I don't know if I want to or not, because at least this works in a known way. I don't know what new bugs they may have, since these are all beta releases. But anyway, yeah, apparently they do have one, so maybe it won't be as pain in the ass. But my understanding is that normally you have to go in and try to install Python and a bunch of other shit, in the command line, in your DOS window if you're on Windows. The command line, that's what it is. So if you've never done things like that before, that might be something of a pain in the ass. This was definitely written by computer geeks for computer geeks when it comes to that. But maybe you'll get lucky and find an installer. So I hope if I get the hankering, maybe I can do that, because it's still a bit of a pain in the butt. Even though I've still installed Python and everything, I might be able to install it easier than I probably did before, unless I found an installer too. I can't remember, it's about a year or so ago I installed this. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you that might be a little tricky. But another thing you might consider, and I haven't looked into this yet, is FreeCAD. FreeCAD supposedly will handle Gerbers too instead of FlatCam. And FreeCAD's a pretty neat little program. It's a parametric CAD program, so it's sort of like SolidWorks or something, but it's not as sophisticated. But it is a good free program that you can use to draw. Let's see if we can find any screenshots. I don't see any, but but it's got an installer too. It's easy to install. But yeah, you can do all kinds of different things in it. It's a fairly sophisticated little CAD program. But again, it's not like AutoCAD or anything. This is parametric, so it means you can go back and make changes to previous things you did. So it's a little easy. But anyway, the thing is that this FreeCAD supposedly has the ability to take files from like KiCad, if you're using KiCad, and generate Gerbers, not just Gerbers, but actually generate NC, CNC drill files or tooling files, G-code files, directly in KiCad, or in not KiCad, but in FreeCAD. So supposedly it'll do that. It also has some like FEA modeling tools and stuff like that, so it's good for designing a bunch of different stuff. FreeCAD is. Again, it's not too difficult to learn, so there's plenty of videos on it and everything out there, so so anyway, you might give it a look. I haven't checked out, I've got it installed on my system, but I haven't checked out the CNC ability of it yet, because supposedly it can generate G-code for more than just circuit boards, but it can do that too, because they have a special little program that works in KiCad with it, so ostensibly. So, but again, I haven't looked into that yet. That may be an alternative to FlatCam, and you might look into it, if you're having trouble getting this to work. The first computer I installed FlatCam on, for some reason it wouldn't work, but it turned out to be because the video settings weren't working with the graphics card I had, because I just have like Intel graphics that I'm using on this other computer. So, but in the options you can go and switch it from OpenGL to native or something like that. Oh shit, that's not it. But supposedly in here somewhere, it's the GUI preferences. What the fuck was that? But anyway, somewhere you could switch between, it's, yeah, right here. Legacy 2D versus OpenGL. I was having trouble with OpenGL. Not just on my other computer, on this computer too. Even though it generally worked, I wasn't able to edit geometry, because this flat cam is a very sophisticated. I mean, this flat cam is very sophisticated because I can actually go in, and choose, edit, for example, and it'll allow you to actually edit your geometry directly. So I can go, like change tracks around and stuff like that. Why is this not working? But at any rate, I can go in, if I put it in edit mode, I can go in and like edit geometry for it and all that stuff. Yeah, they wrote this thing in fucking Python, for crying out loud. Yeah, I didn't make any changes, I didn't want to save anything. But, anyway, you can actually go edit tracks, or you can even build Gerbers from scratch in here if you want to, using all these graphic tools over here. But, normally they kind of lock these things together as separate objects, but when you go in edit mode, it allows you to go and and edit them in the parts that make up these objects. So anyway, just wanted to mention that a little bit about the software options.